You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The next step is simply put this, and I know I'm going to be like Captain Obvious here, so please bear with me, but trust me, I got a lot to say, all right? The next step is to simply keep winning. On the field specifically, but also off the field with recruiting. Simply keep winning. 2024 was a really good year for Syracuse football. They had excellent recruiting class. They won a bunch of games. It was awesome. I think we all loved that year. And beating Miami at the end of the regular season, then winning the Holiday Bowl was a perfect way to end it, right? What's funny, and I think what sometimes I certainly catch myself with this, it's kind of hard to believe that Fran Brown is only entering his second year with Syracuse. Isn't that kind of weird to think about? Because of how much he's done, you would think he might have been here for 4 or 5 years already. This is only his second full year coming up. And not only is it his second full year at Syracuse, it's his second full year as a head coach in college football. He was not a head coach before Syracuse. I kind of have to stop myself and take a step back and realize that it's kind of crazy to think about. Obviously, the long-term goal is to win a national championship, but really it's to put yourself in position to win a national championship. There's no guarantee that any program is going to ever win, but your job is essentially to put your team in position to win and letting it all play out. And hopefully it plays out in your favor and you win a national championship, right? That's the long-term goal. And Syracuse at this point is not at that stage. That's okay to admit. They are not in the national title conversation yet. Doesn't mean they can't be going forward. But as of right now, Syracuse is not a national championship caliber team for this upcoming season. Are they even a playoff team for 2025? Well, most likely not. Just being honest, they're most likely not going to be in the college football playoff. Although, I mean, they have a really tough schedule, which works against them, but it also works for them because if they do well with the tough schedule, 9-3 was not good enough last year in the regular season to make the college football playoff. Wasn't even close for Syracuse. They were in the 20s when all was said and done at the end of the regular season. But 9-3 this season with that schedule, they pull off some upset wins, which if they go 9-3, that is going to happen inevitably. They're going to win some games that you don't expect, like at Tennessee or at Clemson or at Notre Dame. I mean, at SMU, you're going to win one of those games if you go 9-3 in the regular season. So it might be enough if they go 9-3 to make the college football playoff. It might. I don't think they're going to go 9-3, but just keep that in mind. What Syracuse simply needs to do this upcoming season is hold their own. There's no shame. And I know that the Syracuse coaching staff isn't going to think this way. And I know that players aren't going to think this way. And I know that probably you aren't going to think this way. But hold their own. It's a really brutal schedule. You got an inexperienced quarterback. Make a bowl. If you go 6-6 or 7-5, that's okay. That is reasonable. And you know what? They could definitely be the 2025 version of Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech last year was a really good team. Remember the end of the regular season when they took Georgia to 8 overtimes in Athens? They did that. And remember how they also beat Miami at home? Remember? Georgia Tech did that stuff. But they only went 7-5 in the regular season, and it's because, well, Haynes King missed part of the year as their quarterback, and also they just had such a brutal schedule. It was tough. I mean, they had to go to Syracuse, and Syracuse was a really good team. That might have been their 4th toughest game on the schedule. It was a tough year for them. They had a really good team, just did not get good schedule luck. But for Syracuse, if you're a good team, you show promise, you got a young core group of players this upcoming year, you keep building with recruiting and in the transfer portal, you're slowly but surely going to increase the national presence and prestige of this program. And also keep sending guys to the NFL. That significantly helps your recruiting if you can show recruits, hey, You go to our school, you can make it to the National Football League, which is probably most of these high schoolers' goal, to make the National Football League, whether they have a chance or not. That's just most likely how they think. So when you think year by year, or at least when I think about it, and feel free to let me know if I'm being stupid or I'm an idiot. I mean, comment your thoughts in the comment section below right now. 2026 is the year that I'm circling. That's it. I think that is the possibility of when Syracuse makes the college football playoff. I did think in 2024 there was an outside shot, and they nearly pulled off an Indiana type year where they went 11-1. But some things broke their way, and some things didn't break Syracuse's way. So they ended up 9-3. They were almost Indiana. However, going into that year, I did not think they were going to make the college football playoff with a first-year head coach. This upcoming year, it's just such a tough schedule. So how are they going to win 9-10 games, which is what's going to be required to make the college football playoff? I don't know. But 2026, I think that's the year. Because by that point, the playoff is all but guaranteed to be 14 or 16 teams. So there should theoretically be more spots available, although with automatic bids and stuff, that could get kind of complicated. Plus, the non-conference schedule eases up. I mean, you got New Hampshire at home, you're at UConn, Toledo at home, and yes, they're playing Notre Dame, but Notre Dame is a home game in 2026. And Clemson, speaking of in-conference, Clemson is also a home game in 2026. So hopefully 2026 could be the year that Syracuse makes the college football playoff. And then beyond that, once you make the college football playoff, you're going to have so much more momentum with the program. You keep building from there. And maybe by 2027, you put yourself in national title conversation. Maybe. That's the year-by-year outlook for Syracuse football, in my opinion, the goals going forward. Obviously, if you listen to Fran Brown and the coaching staff and the players, they're not going to say this. They're going to say, our goal is to go undefeated and win the national championship, which that has to be their mindset. But I'm just a podcast host, so I can tell you all, hey, this is what I think realistically what they could do. Make a bowl again this upcoming season. 2026, you load up. And then 2027, if all breaks right in 2026, maybe 2027, you're competing for a national championship.